The Lance Wallnau Show is coming to you live from the Master himself, with a special broadcast taken from one of Lance's most recent appearances. Tune in and get ready for some major revelation.
So you should be sphere preeminent in the area that you are assigned to. I want to see you at the top. Now, you can't be at the top of everything, so you have to have specificity. What's the niche market that you actually are called to dominate? Does that make sense to you? You should be the one that everyone talks about in that field. I don't care whether it's dry cleaning or catering. Pray in such a way that God makes your organization so unique and distinct that everyone else in your field knows who you are and knows you're a Christian and sees your results. That's Chick-fil-A's model, made them billions of dollars. Well, we're not going to be open on Sunday. What? You crazy? McDonald's people thought they were losing your mind? No, we're going to have market preeminence. So anyway, think like you're going to be the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. That's good old covenant thinking. And the new covenant is based on better promises. Does that make sense? So in those 7 spheres, the reason why the church has lost the culture war and is trying to get it back again is because we never understood how it was fought in the first place. Meaning, we thought if we just doubled down on more anointing, more evangelism, more church planting over here. Listen, I was in the church consulting business. It's kind of narcissistic. Every solution to the problem was more of us. So what happens to America? More churches, more church growth, a whole industry, from TBN to purpose-driven church books. We created our own marketplace out there. Meanwhile, we gave the education system over to the devil, so that the teachers and all the children, but we took our little boys and girls out. We put them into Christian school. Well, great. Then the rest of the country all became even more paganized. If you don't go into the system to occupy the system, you become a persecuted subculture. So thank God. But anyway, so our people are starting to come up. In every field, you're seeing the pushback now. This church has leadership that says, I'm not playing the I'm politically correct game. I'm going to actually go after the strongholds over my city. And then, of course, the strongholds are going to manifest against you. Then you say, line in the sand, no, we're going to do our project. We're not backing down. If I have to, and we've got the Supreme Court lawyers. I've got them. If we got a good case, we'll win it. Right now. I even got the people that'll fund the case for you. So you know what our lawyers are? They're great. They're looking for the right case to be the devil trying to stop what God's doing so that they could take it into the court, have it fail, take it into the next court, have it fail, take it to the Supreme Court, and it gets established as a law in the land. Feeling their way right to the Super Bowl where they win it. And we're doing it all the time now. People just don't hear the story. Anyway, how did we lose the culture war? We focused on evangelism and revival and encounter and presence and signs and wonders. And my daughter went out to Bethel, and of course, everybody goes off into supernatural land as Christians, thinking that's going to be the solution to the problem. What did Jesus say? Go into all the world. That means you have to unpack the supernatural in every one of those domains. 90% of the people that go to the Bethel Bible colleges of this world are not called to make a living walking around with a podcast and a microphone. They're not selling their best-selling books on charisma. They got to go hustle in the marketplace and make it work. How have we trained them to unpack the supernatural in the natural world where 90% of them have to eke out an existence? And getting words of knowledge at Walmart isn't going to pay all the bills. So, we should have been aiming at these institutions because you disciple a nation by teaching. You convert a nation by preaching. We went overboard on the preaching, and we let the devil take over the teaching, and the culture got indoctrinated with another worldview. Now your biggest threat is your 30-year-old and younger crowd doesn't like Israel and thinks Marxism might be a good idea. What a wake-up call that is. While men slept, the enemy came and planted a whole different harvest. Anyway, in terms of strategy, do you have? What words do you own in the marketplace? What words do you own in the minds of your target customer? Just go down and do some Google searches and see what words you could possibly own in the marketplace. I own Seven Mountains. I own Convergence. I own Level 10, less well known. I own Christian Nationalist. If I don't like it, I can't help it. But do a Google search of your own organization to see what people search for along with your organization. You get an idea what the marketplace thinks about what you do. Does that make sense? Let me move through this faster. Execution. Key question. Are all the processes running without drama and driving industry-leading profitability? Are all your processes running without drama? This is really important. Find out where the drama is. My motto this year is no drama, mama. I don't want any drama. I got enough drama coming at me from the devil on the outside. I certainly don't need it back home. I thank God I've got a wife that is sent by the Lord because she's great. I get really intense, and she doesn't go there. She agrees with all my political things, but she's not political at all. And I'm all about going and transforming culture. She's all about children and moms in Fort Worth who need furniture and discipleship. It's like, my gosh, it's probably a good balance for me in a way. So yesterday I'm at a conference in Colorado, and I got thrown off a little bit because I was meeting with some of these guys. They're speakers and leaders and authors. And a guy came in, grabbed my carry-on. I said, what are you doing? I didn't even know the guy. He goes, I'm putting it in the van. I'm going to be driving you. I go, well, I guess I have to trust you. Walking off of my passport and my bio and my computer. All right, you look safe. He's got a tag on. Like it looks like he was from the church. So goes in the car. So then the van pulls up. I'm a little disoriented. I forgot to go to the front desk to get my luggage. I get in the van and go all the way to the airport with my carry-on without my luggage. And I'm with two other preachers, so it's equally distracting. I'm giving myself credit. I might have remembered if I wasn't yakking with other preachers. Next thing you know, I get to the terminal in Denver, and I go, I don't have my luggage. This is really inconvenient for checking in when you don't have your luggage. So I have to figure out a way to monkey around to get it mailed to my house. Have to tip somebody generously to go take care of it for me and give them a credit card and pay for it, however they're going to do it. So I'm not going to go back and get it. I'll miss my flight. Well, I won't be here today if that happens. So I send a text to my wife explaining this. I'm kind of frustrated. I can't believe how this is my luggage on top of everything. I'm running around. I got to get there at 7 o'clock, and I got to be up at 6:45 tomorrow morning. And so my wife sends back. What was her? I should play it for you, but I don't have my phone. I left it at home. It's a laugh track of her laughing. She was doubled over laughing over how dumb I am. World's Solomon leaves luggage at hotel. And she just thinks it's endlessly funny. So all I can tell you is no drama this year because the world out there is going to become more and more intense. So that means you have to own the space within your organization. And I want you to all think in terms of the people you have with you, making sure that you're praying in the right people, asking the right questions. In terms of strategy, I'm reading now from a book you all ought to get a hold of. We'll come here every month to talk about it. I've been doing this for years. I love it. Scaling Up by Vern Harnish. Super good on, he originally wrote the book Rockefeller's Habits, but it's just like the disciplines of gazelle organizations that can grow and grow and keep on going. This is where I'm coming back to you with this because I felt like the Lord said, read from this today. Key question regarding execution is if everyone seems to be working more hours, spinning their wheels, or spending too much time fixing things that should have been done right the first time, you have an execution meeting coming up where you're going to learn how the repeated problems that are constantly creating those problems can be solved. And that really happens by identifying who does what. Because what you'll find is it's a lack of clarity as to who's responsible for an outcome, and that's why the thing gets handled by half a dozen people as an emergency. Does that make sense?
What if you could live younger and stronger for longer? Is it possible to reactivate your body's internal repair system the way God designed it? Are you or someone you love struggling with body degeneration and in search of some kind of an effective solution? At Level 10 Matrix, we believe that the power that created you can heal you, and that healing and regeneration are already encoded right inside your DNA. And whether it's due to injury or illness or aches or chronic pain or lack of energy, mental or physical decline, or the brain fog that seems to come with the aging process itself. If you want to revitalize your life now, then call 1-800-361-2270 or go to level10matrix.com now to claim your complimentary ebook and to schedule your complimentary no obligation, no pressure consultation. Remember, looking and feeling younger never gets old. So if you want to revitalize your life now, then call 1-800-361-2270 today.
And finally, cash. Do you have consistent sources of cash, ideally generated internally, to fuel the growth of your business? I was thinking of one couple. They kept on telling me how their business was growing and growing, and God was prospering, and God was prospering, and then they went bankrupt. And I realized something. If the devil can't stop you by hindering and frustrating you getting up to the top of your mountain, he'll get behind you and push prematurely. And you'll outgrow your ability to meet the supply and demand, and someone else who's a competitor with a better cash position will move in like a hawk on the marketplace you've developed and cultivated, and they will supply the piece you didn't have because you didn't have a cash strategy for how to keep up with the prosperity God gave you. Isn't that sobering? Meanwhile, my people perish for lack of knowledge. I'm so frustrated this week. All us good churches, all us good Christians, people come along, they got, rescuing kids out of sex trafficking. They got, projects like you've got for moms, that are coming out of abusive situations. Oh, we've got mental health addiction. We got prison reform. Here's the amazing thing. I get into D.C. and I start wondering, we're $2 trillion in debt. Where's that money going? Washington isn't a government mountain, political mountain, like I thought. It's a business mountain using government to get at money. Washington is a business. And they're spreading out the accountability so that they can continue to print money in order to fund what they want to do. And they will bankrupt America unless the rational people rise up and grab it. $2 trillion overspent. With Donald Trump and Musk there, two guys that are like frustrated with this, and they can't change it because the labyrinth in the system is so complex that the moment they try to pull the thread here, it goes all the way down to districts and committees, subcommittees, and donors, and the whole system is like, you can't pull that thread too hard because then you get pushback from your whole party. All right. So I start researching Arabella and organizations like Soros, the Tides Foundation, Rockefeller. I know I'm always running up against these guys. You hear their name all the time. See, the left is shrewd. They discipled the United States by getting your money and using it against you. They didn't take an offering on Sunday. They don't ask for tithes. They don't ask for sacrificial giving for noble causes. They go to the printing press of tax money, and then they set up their non-government organizations, which are actually their nonprofit ministries. And they fund them through grant money that's allocated through Washington to go for the various needs of the nation, whether it's food, SNAP program, 45 million people on it. 45 million people on a food program. Nobody knew about it until the government shut down, and smart people said, we don't really have 45 million people that can't eat in America. Somehow this system is getting rigged. Then you find like in Somalia up there in Minnesota right now, how billions of dollars is getting milked out of the state that was coming from the government and going into lining the pockets of the left and then going off to their own country to fuel whatever nonsense they're up to. Anyway, so last September, I start checking this stuff out. $700 million went through Washington for families and fathers and children. And no Christians really knew about it other than Samaritan Purse and World Vision. And so out of the 1,000 grant recipients of $700 million, only 2 Christians got anything. And the guy in charge of the allocation, distribution, final decision-making process is a homosexual that has 3 children by surrogate mothers. So he doesn't exactly have a clear-headed vision as to what family and fatherhood is and how to fund the restoration of the family mountain in America. That make sense? Worse yet, out of 1,000 organizations, only 2 Christians even knew about it. So the system is doling out. So, well, how often does that happen? All the time. When's the next one? I'll bet you didn't know this. $500 million was released for you guys. It was like a COVID recovery process for security, pavement of parking lots, fixing up of church buildings, church parking lots, and church security. $500 million. No Christian church I know of even knew about it. The system is set up so the left knows how to get that. Boom, it's set up. It's almost like it's like a casino where nobody even knows the money's being out. There's no news about when's the money coming out? Who's getting it? Well, all I can say is a problem properly defined is half solved. So what do you have to do? You have to create an organization that is in the game of identifying the grant and connecting it with the need. And now we are taking that mechanism. And you talk about the transfer of wealth. There's billions of dollars that are potentially going to be released to the body of Christ if the body of Christ is ready to handle it. Because that money is no longer being done behind the closed door with Washington. We're now at the table. And that means, can Christian philanthropy organizations, can they handle money? Can they solve problems? Do we have, I guarantee Teen Challenge will do more to get you out of addiction recovery than a government meth program. I think it's the hour for the church, and here's the weird part. Most of the Christian organizations I talk to, they're even nervous about getting involved with this. Well, I don't know if I want to get involved with the government. You know, almost like they have like a stupid gene. It's like, well, you know, then I'm going to have to do what they say. No. How about you only take government money to do what your actual ministry does? The government will not pay you, by the way, to evangelize and disciple people. Even the left is smart enough to know that. You can't get tax money in order, but what they do is they evangelize and disciple people through the programs that they've got, whether it's LGBTQ or trans. They're constantly discipling people. Drag Queen Hour, discipling people to their worldview and their values. So we just have to be shrewd. But that money can come to you. Do you know who complained that Christians weren't getting the distribution? Donald Trump. That's where we all first heard it. He was mad. He says, how come my people aren't getting any of that? Because he knows the game is rigged and it frustrates him. So here we are on the cusp of billions of dollars that can be allocated. And are you grant ready? Are you grant qualified? I guarantee you didn't even know there was a state grant, a foundational grant, or a federal government grant that could help fund your philanthropy. But man, so here's my thought. And I got so much more to say. I'll come back. I'll make it easier than a year to come back because I live here. But here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to take a hold of that vision statement you got there and add just for this room here. Don't do it for the church. Do it for here. Tell the pastor I suggested it. Daniel chapter 2, verse 17. Daniel went to his house and made the decision known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they might seek mercies from the God of heaven, because there was a government problem, and the problem was this leader had a dream and nobody could interpret it. Well, Trump has a vision for the United States, and the church is not keeping up with it. He's wrecking ball to every one of those institutions. They had 4 years to figure out what to really do to wreck the power of the left. And they never should have gone after them the way he did, because he's far more focused coming back in. He said, I'm going to go for the Kennedy Center. I'm going to go for PBS. I'm going to go for Politico. I'm going to hit all the institutional outlets at the top of them. I'm going to sue the New York Times for lying. I'm going to put the fear of God. I'm going to go to Silicon Valley where they put $400 million against me. I'm going to bring them to dinner in the White House and say, beat China. I'll let you make a lot of money. You're now in charge of AI. You're working for me. You got that? Yes, sir. We're working for you. So he's got Silicon Valley right behind him. The guy's brilliant. He's hitting every one of those mountains and turning around to the church and saying, billions of dollars for getting the prisoners to come out of the prison system and have jobs and be reoriented. Do any of you have a vision for what to do with crime? I would love to get a hold of that money to be proactive in working with African American youth, because that's my primary demographic, where I've got 1,000 houses. My wife, 1,000 apartments in Fort Worth. She's fully furnished by faith. Doesn't get a dollar out of it. It's 5 warehouses of throughput, people giving her stuff, and she's got people loading it up to moms that are under-resourced in Fort Worth. And I'm thinking, that should be government money. You know where it's coming from? Tithes, offerings, and me. And here's another thing. God will use your problem to drive you to the next level revelation for the expansion of your business. Some of you that are having those terrible times, I'm not so sure. Maybe it's because you're the bottleneck and you got a constraint and you got to grow and there's something you to learn. Or it could be you're like Elijah and God was feeding you along the stream this way, but to move you to the next level, he's got to dry up the funding that was at that, because you were comfortable staying there. So now you're praying for God to release, prosper, send the angels, and it's drying up. Oh, God, am I in sin? No, you're not in sin. He's trying to dry up your present model because he's forcing you to move to where the next level is.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to navigate the world